here at home, where I sign all my autographed pictures for my fans all around the world.
Most people see the trophy and think that's where the story ends. 4 Mr. Olympia titles, magazine covers, a physique that redefined mass and conditioning. But the real story of Jay Cutler begins long before the stage lights and continues long after the final curtain call. This is about a kid who learned the meaning of hard work at 11 years old, who transformed concrete blocks into the foundation of a $30 million empire, and who proved that champions aren't just built in the gym, they're built in the decisions they make when nobody's watching. Born Jason Isaac Cutler on August 3, 1973, in Worcester, Massachusetts, Jay grew up in nearby Sterling as the youngest of 7 siblings. This wasn't a household of privilege. This was a working-class family where everyone contributed. While other kids were playing video games after school, 11-year-old Jay was hauling 80-pound concrete forms at his brother's construction company, Cutler Brothers Concrete. Every weekend, every school vacation, all summer long. He would wake up at 6 in the morning and work until sundown, carrying concrete blocks that weighed nearly as much as he did. Years later, Jay would confess that he hated that job, but it taught him something that no classroom ever could. You have to work for what you get in life. Nothing is given. Everything is earned. Those early mornings in the Massachusetts cold, those blistered hands, that burning exhaustion in his young muscles, that became the blueprint for everything that followed. The gym was his escape. When he finally entered a weight room at 18, after spending years building functional strength through manual labor, Jay found his sanctuary. This was where the chaos stopped, where the weights didn't talk back, where effort translated directly into results. But even then, bodybuilding wasn't the plan. Jay enrolled at Quinsigamond Community College to study criminal justice. He wanted to become a corrections officer at a maximum security prison. Stable job, good benefits, predictable future. That's what made sense for a kid from Sterling. But something happened in that college gym. Training became an obsession. What started as a way to blow off steam transformed into a daily ritual. Jay began training almost every day after classes. His physique changed dramatically. People noticed. His trainer, Marcos Rodriguez, saw something special and kept pushing him to compete. In 1993, at just 20 years old, Jay entered his first bodybuilding competition, the NPC Iron Bodies Invitational. He won both the teenage and men's heavyweight divisions on the same day. That's when the switch flipped. Jay realized he had found something he could excel at, something that rewarded the work ethic his construction days had forged into his DNA. He made a decision that would define the rest of his life. He abandoned his goal of becoming a corrections officer and committed fully to bodybuilding. 3 years later, in 1996, Jay stepped onto the stage at the NPC Nationals. He didn't just win. At 23 years old, he earned his professional bodybuilding card, the license to compete at the highest level. Most athletes spend a decade chasing that achievement. Jay did it in 3 years. The legend was born. But becoming a professional bodybuilder doesn't mean you're getting paid like one. The early years were a grind. Prize money was modest. Sponsorships were scarce. Jay barely had enough money for gas to drive his truck to competitions. Then came 1995, a pivotal year that changed everything. Jay landed his first sponsorship and appeared on his first magazine cover. Suddenly, he was receiving fan mail from around the world. People in countries he'd never heard of were writing to him, asking for autographed pictures. Most athletes would have just signed a few photos and moved on. Jay saw an opportunity. He started a mail-order business right from his garage. $10 for an autographed picture, $20 for a t-shirt. People sent money orders and checks, And every week, Jay was making money from being, in his words, basically a nobody. That mail-order business was generating thousands of dollars. When Jay moved to Las Vegas, he scaled it up. He was selling t-shirts from his garage at a time when nobody was doing that, and he was making $1 million a year just on t-shirt sales. This wasn't luck. This was a construction worker who understood that every opportunity is like concrete. You either shape it or it hardens into nothing. Jay shaped every opportunity. The money from competitions started coming in, but Jay didn't buy flashy cars or luxury watches like many young athletes would. He bought real estate. In 2001, Jay put all his eggs in one basket, competed at the Mr. Olympia, placed second, and won $60,000. He took that money, added his Arnold Classic winnings, and bought his first rental property in Las Vegas for $300,000. He only put down $10,000 as a deposit. 4 years later, he sold that property for $1 million. That's when Jay understood the game. Every time he won a competition, the prize money went straight into another property. In 2002, he bought 1 rental property. In 2003, he bought 7 homes in a single year. Those big paychecks became his stepping stones. Real estate was generating passive income while Jay was traveling the world competing. By the time he was in his prime, Jay was pulling in $2 to $2.5 million annually from his competition winnings, endorsements, guest appearances, supplement business, DVDs, and clothing line. But here's what separated Jay from everyone else. He was playing the long game. He knew his body wouldn't last forever. He knew the championships end. He was building an empire that would outlive his competitive career. And he needed to, because the road to glory was anything but smooth. From 2001 to 2005, Jay Cutler was the ultimate bridesmaid. He placed second at the Mr. Olympia 4 consecutive times. 4 times he stood on that stage, gave everything he had, and watched Ronnie Coleman, the greatest bodybuilder of all time, take the Sando trophy. 4 times he had to smile through the pain of defeat. Most athletes would have quit. Most would have decided that second place was good enough, that Ronnie Coleman was simply unbeatable. But Jay had learned something hauling concrete blocks as a kid. You keep showing up, you keep working, you adapt. Jay studied Ronnie obsessively. He realized that Ronnie's back development was untouchable. That's where Jay was losing. So Jay spent years building his back, adding width, adding thickness, adding detail. He knew his weak points and attacked them with the same intensity his brothers attacked concrete foundations. The rivalry became legendary. Ronnie Coleman was 10 years older than Jay, already 43 when Jay was hitting his peak in his early 30s. But Ronnie had won 8 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles. Nobody had been able to touch him until 2006. That year, everything came together for Jay. His conditioning was sharp, his size was massive, his back had caught up, and most importantly, his mental game was locked in. He walked onto that Las Vegas stage as the underdog with the entire crowd behind him. When the judges announced Jay Cutler as the new Mr. Olympia, it was one of the most historic moments in bodybuilding history. Jay had become the first person ever to defeat a reigning Mr. Olympia champion on stage. But the victory was bittersweet. Jay felt bad for Ronnie. Ronnie was chasing his 9th title, trying to break the record he shared with Lee Haney. Jay had stopped him from making history. Jay knew he didn't beat the best Ronnie Coleman ever. Time had crept up on the king. But Jay was better that day, and in bodybuilding, that's all that matters. Jay won again in 2007. Then, in 2008, he lost the title to Dexter Jackson. Everyone thought Jay's reign was over, that he had lost his edge, that the new generation was taking over. Jay disappeared from the spotlight. He didn't complain. He didn't make excuses. He went back to the gym and worked in silence. In 2009, Jay Cutler walked back onto the Mr. Olympia stage and reclaimed his title. He became only the third bodybuilder in history to win the Olympia in non-consecutive years, joining Arnold Schwarzenegger and Franco Columbu. He won again in 2010. 4 Sandow trophies, 4 times standing on top of the bodybuilding world. The comeback king had cemented his legacy. But by 2011, something changed. Jay suffered a severe bicep injury. His body was breaking down. And more importantly, his passion was fading. Jay had spent his entire adult life chasing perfection, waking up every day with one singular goal: to be the best bodybuilder on stage. But the fire was gone. It wasn't fun anymore. No amount of money, no amount of respect, no amount of travel could replace the joy that had been lost. In 2013, at 40 years old, Jay Cutler stepped onto the Mr. Olympia stage for the final time. He didn't win, but he had nothing left to prove. He retired as a legend. Most athletes struggle after retirement. They lose their identity, they lose their purpose, they lose their money. Jay Cutler did the opposite. He had been preparing for this moment for 20 years. All those real estate investments, all those business ventures, all that personal branding. It was all for this. In 2014, Jay launched Cutler Nutrition, his bodybuilding supplement company. This wasn't just slapping his name on some protein powder. Jay was involved in the formulation, the marketing, the distribution. He built a legitimate business offering pre-workouts, proteins, amino acids, recovery products, weight loss supplements, and daily health essentials. Today, Cutler Nutrition ships products worldwide and generates millions in annual revenue. Jay also owns Cutler Athletics, his men's and women's apparel line. The brand has a massive social media following and sells everything from workout gear to lifestyle clothing. And he didn't stop there. In 2024, Jay appeared on Shark Tank with his business partner Brandon Faulken to pitch Jay's Pet Butter, a pet-friendly peanut butter made without harmful ingredients. They asked for $50,000 for 10% equity. Kevin O'Leary offered them $50,000 with a $1 royalty on every jar sold indefinitely. Jay and Brandon turned it down. They wanted equity, not a lifetime royalty deal. They left the tank empty-handed but walked out with their vision intact. Jay's Pet Butter continues to grow without the sharks. As of 2025, Jay Cutler's net worth is estimated at $30 million. Not from one source, not from one lucky investment, from decades of strategic planning, hard work, and refusing to follow the traditional athlete playbook. He makes money from Cutler Nutrition, from Cutler Athletics, from his real estate portfolio, from guest appearances and seminars, from his social media presence with over 4 million Instagram followers, from his YouTube channel, from his newsletter called J Mail, where he shares fitness advice, from endorsement deals with brands like Young LA. Every revenue stream was intentionally built. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. Jay Cutler represents something bigger than bodybuilding. He represents the blue-collar mentality. The kid who hauled concrete blocks didn't just build muscle. He built character. He built discipline. He built resilience. He built a mindset that said, "I don't care how many times you knock me down, I'm getting back up." He proved that second place isn't failure. It's preparation. Every loss to Ronnie Coleman taught Jay something. Every setback made him sharper. Every moment of doubt became fuel. Today, Jay still trains 5 days a week. Not for competition, not for validation, because the gym is still his escape, because discipline doesn't retire, because the habits that built a champion don't disappear just because the stage lights turn off. Jay Cutler is living proof that the real trophy isn't the Sandow. It's the empire you build when the applause fades. It's the investments you make when you're exhausted. It's the risks you take when everyone says you're crazy. It's the businesses you start in your garage when you're a nobody. It's the real estate you buy when you could be buying toys. It's the work you do in silence that speaks louder than any trophy ever could. From a construction site in Massachusetts to a $30 million empire. From second place 4 times in a row to 4-time Mr. Olympia champion. From selling autographed pictures for $10 to running multiple million-dollar businesses. Jay Cutler didn't just build a physique, he built a legacy. And the blueprint is simple. Show up every single day. Outwork everyone. Invest in your future. Never quit. Turn setbacks into comebacks. And when you finally reach the top, don't stop building. Because champions aren't just made in the gym. They're made in every decision, every sacrifice, every moment when nobody's watching. That's the Jay Cutler story. That's the empire.